Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Get ready for a very weird news day. Bitcoin's run above $12,000 was short-lived as the asset has tanked, air quotes, by 4% in the past 24 hours to around 11,800 US dollars, a little bit higher, a little bit lower depending on where you look. However, Bitcoin's dominance over the market has increased slightly, as most altcoins have plummeted as well. I think so. Bitcoin's price fell. I think the last time I saw it was like 6.1%, but has since like slightly recovered because this always happens. We have like a dramatic crash and then the price slowly starts to move back up. But a lot of altcoins, after Bitcoin fell 6%, these other coins were falling by 12%, 18%, 24% in the same time frame. Bitcoin's latest attempt to conquer 12,000 seemed successful at first glance, unlike the previous ones when it dumped almost immediately after breaking above 12K. However, the situation reversed yesterday in a sudden price drop to 11,800 on Binance. Although the asset managed to recover some of the losses initially and headed above 12,000 again, the bears quickly regained control and drove it down to its current stance of around is higher than that, 11,800, give or take. Thus, Bitcoin completed a dump of 4% in the past 24 hours as its price went to 11,612 on Binance. This is not the indication of a bear market. This is if nothing else the indication of either manipulation or an actual correlation, which we are going to get into in a couple of moments. This one says BTC correcting gains, key support nearby. A correction indicates that something was wrong and needed to be corrected. That is not at all what took place. This one says Bitcoin's price falls below 12,000 US dollars. What to expect? Really funny, the timing of all of this as well. This article written 7 hours ago. It says Bitcoin price prepares for 12,900 US dollars after key support level is retested. It looked like we were going to continue rising to around 13,000 US dollars, but around this same exact time frame, a number of things started to take place. And is this the first actual tab? It says Bitcoin crashes below 12,000 US dollars as S&P 500 hits new high. Coincidence? Question mark. This has been a discussion over the last couple of weeks, and a lot of major news agencies are also getting into this as well. You may have also seen, if you follow anything financial on YouTube, you may have encountered or come across any number of YouTube channels talking about why the S&P 500, why the NASDAQ, why many stock exchanges, indices, and indexes around the world are all doing extremely well right now. And the number one question is, no one really knows. The idea is that the stock market typically is not an exact reflection of a country's economy. It has to do with the confidence that people have in a certain asset, i.e. a stock, within a certain index and its future potential, i.e. you may buy Apple stock because you expect Apple to continue to do well. And during a lot of this downturn that we've seen across the wider world, it appears that many people believe that a number of tech companies will continue to do well, and these are the companies that are actually dragging up the rest of the market, because when you actually look at the stocks of many other companies, they're falling, while the tech companies continue to rise. Even weirder, this is why this year just simply does not make a lot of sense. A number of companies that have actually filed for bankruptcy this year. Not fake bankruptcy, it's like an actual, we're broke, we have nothing left. Their stock is also still rising. And when you look at the people on CNBC or ABC or whatever other letters are going around out there, even on financial news on YouTube, people shrug because no one really understands why a lot of these things are going on. You might be able to find an article. It's I read it last night before going to bed. It was like I think analysts have done and, crunched the numbers. And I think the stock markets are now, I think anywhere from 70 to 80% actually overvalued. Like they shouldn't have any of the value that they currently have right now. There's been news floating around that apparently there is maybe going to be something to help against 19. And with this help against 19, this causes some markets to rally, thinking that we're going to get back to where we were before overnight. There's also news of potential continued government printing. We know that the U.S. is already going to continue doing it until, the wheels fall off. Many other countries are also backing their support behind all of this as well, saying, yes, we'll keep printing. And this printing allows markets to stay up or be propped up and other people to kind of have confidence that these things are going to continue rising. But we all know, at least some of us know on the planet, especially if you are into finance, even a smidge, you cannot print something forever because eventually it loses all of its value. If you have $100, I don't even have to explain it. I don't. Like, it's just simple math, like very simple, basic mathematics and economics. So the stock markets keep going up to a brand new high. If you can understand how absurd that is, then you are part of the good kids in the class, because it's absolutely nuts. They reached a new all-time high. Bitcoin fell. This one says right here, it says a US dollar rally might be in the cards according to the charts. I forgot the name of the actual, I think it has it right here. It is the DXY, the Dixie index. My friend in New York, who's really into finance as well, was telling me about this a couple of days ago. He said, according to him, I haven't done the actual research myself. I'm going off of his words because I know that, I don't want to use the word that he's obsessed, but I know that he really loves this stuff. He said every single time that the US dollar's value fell on the Dixie, the price of Bitcoin was actually rising. And whenever the inverse happened, then the inverse happened. I don't have to say that all over again. So we're getting a lot of indications that for some odd reason, showing in the charts that the US dollar may be preparing to rally against other currencies, and therefore the life force of the US dollar may return. Also doesn't make a lot of sense because $7 trillion. What was the actual time frame? I think it took, oh gosh, what was it? I think it took 3, 4, 5 years in order to print like an additional $2 trillion or something like that for the US economy. And I think over the course of a 6-month period, the US printed $7 trillion. So clearly inflation is going to be at play. The other news is that a lot of countries around the world are actually looking for US dollars right now to help them stabilize. Because if you've been paying attention, there are at least 8 countries on the planet right now who are going through some type of strife, is the nicest way of putting it. And as such, and as other currencies are collapsing, a lot of countries tend to use US dollars to back things and or use them as a replacement currency in time of crises. So it could be that, once again, this is why I say, like, whenever we get the word correction for Bitcoin's market, it's something that I just simply don't believe. A correction, if you make a mistake on a test, it has to be corrected. Bitcoin's price does not correct. Bitcoin's price is either manipulated or potentially now even slightly correlated to the US dollar. If the US dollar continues doing bad, according to my friend, as he's seen in the charts, Bitcoin's price goes up, which would mean that if the future is as we expect it to be, and Bitcoin remains the way that it is and remains deflationary, and the US dollar, just according to history, remains inflationary, as time goes on, Bitcoin will continue gaining US dollar value against the US dollar as the US dollar is then devalued. So without anything too fancy floating around or any other type of news as to maybe potentially some rich person said something about negative about Bitcoin and therefore Bitcoin fell, it appears as though it's because the stock markets are at an new all-time high, which does not make any sense. And also the dollar is looking like it could potentially do well against other currencies, and therefore maybe people who are on the institutional level have taken that as a bearish sign for Bitcoin in the short term. I don't know. The point is, the entire cryptocurrency market is down. Bitcoin's recovering. It's not as bad of a shock as people would like you to believe. I saw far too many news outlets proclaiming that Bitcoin had cratered, and I was like, just stop it. Anyway, prices are down all across the board. US dollar might rally, and for some odd reason, a handful of stocks are causing the stock markets to rise while the rest of the economy has its face in the mud. Next up, in like popular-esque news, I don't know, Bitcoin Cash leader Roger Ver has suggested that disgruntled developers should sell their BCash holdings and buy Dash in light of an upcoming change to the blockchain. He said this is already a peer-to-peer electronic cash coin with IFP, or there is already a coin with IFP. It's called Dash. I suggest IFP supporters sell their BCash for Dash and start working on that chain, said Roger Ver. His comments concern BCash's infrastructure funding plan, or the IFP, a hotly debated edition that may arrive in November. IFP, in its current form, will direct 8% of block rewards to developers. The fund will, in turn, deprive BCash miners of income. Oh, that sounds wonderful. It's not clear if Ver's endorsement of Dash is serious or sarcastic. However, his point is clear. Dash uses a funding model that is similar to the one advocated by IFP advocates in the BCash community. That is, Dash allocates some of its mining rewards towards developers through a set of programmed rules. This is a discussion that, not even just for BCash, but that happened across many different blockchains last year. And I think this discussion was also had for Litecoin as well, when we had news in 2018 that I think the Litecoin development team was kind of low on funds. The idea being, if you are developing on the blockchain, should you also get a little sprinkle of change as the new coins are being mined, i.e., they're mining the coins and protecting the network. However, these people are actually developing on it to make sure that the network is also safe. So therefore, should they be allocated some money? Depends on what you think. I don't see a reason why not. Honestly, realistically, imagine the people who are also protecting Bitcoin. Like, do you think that they should get some money? They're protecting $100 billion blockchain? I think they probably deserve a little sprinkle of the change. So as it stands right now, I saw news about this about a month ago. I didn't care because it's BCash. But this news has been encroaching, creeping. It's been on my back for a couple of days because it's constantly in the news all the time. 8% of block rewards go to developers and will deprive BCash miners of income. Sure, why not? I was going to make a snarky comment. Do whatever. It doesn't even matter. It was going to be a very snarky comment, but I'm glad that I didn't say it. The point is, apparently there was news that Bitcoin Cash was apparently going to have a hard fork. Sure, why not? I honestly don't think it'll hurt BCash that much because no one's really using BCash at all. It's being added to tons of different funds, but that's also because, once again, the rich people who got into Bitcoin early have tons of BCash. So they're like, if it survives, I still make money. If it doesn't survive, I still have Bitcoin. So I guess we'll get news as time moves forward if BCash is going to be forked. Does anyone out there care? Did anyone raise a hand? All right, then. Let's move on. Next up, a prominent bank in Singapore said Bitcoin and other public cryptocurrencies present a new frontier for contactless payments and digital money, one that's past their days of being dismissed by bankers. DBS, one of the top banks in Singapore with an estimated $234 billion under management, said in a report on Monday that Bitcoin and other state-issued currencies are leading innovation across the broader financial ecosystem, with supply chains and cross-border banking seeing a particular benefit. Asia remains one of the forefronts of crypto activity, DBS said, noting the region's crypto exchange handles billions of dollars each day, while China controls a reported 70% of Bitcoin's hash rate. There's a little pretty picture right there. DBS said Bitcoin's trading volume rose from an average of 18 million per day between 2013 to 2016 to $507 million per day in 2017 to 2019. It took 2-3 years-ish to go from 18 million per day to 507 million per day, based on vetted exchanges, indicating the steady rise in network activity and the asset's advancement from an obscure internet currency to a solid alternative to gold. Here's the actual article. I don't know what to call this. A blog post by them discussing it. It says digital currencies, public and private, present and future. Just for those of you who are keeping track, this is yet another bank who is talking about the benefits and alternative investment prospects of Bitcoin as another currency. Just even indicating that crypto is no longer the Wild West means that we know that the rich people are already here. Every day, we keep getting news from rich people that Bitcoin is amazing, Bitcoin's awesome, Bitcoin needs to be gotten into, Bitcoin needs to be researched, stock to flow, and all that other stuff. It appears that they're here, and now is the phase where they're kind of all telling each other, hey, this thing is amazing, you should all get into it. This news is never, or at least at the moment, is not directed at normal people, air quotes, which I also said about a year ago was going to happen, but we're not yet at that point. A lot of the news that's coming out like this, with banks telling other banks, hey, this is amazing, very rich people, or even people, once again, financial news, while it may be on your television, is not necessarily meant for you. And that's not to be mean. It's kind of listen to the things that they say when they talk. If you ever watch financial news, like actually on CNBC, Fox Business, or whatever, listen to the way that they talk and how they talk. They talk about $1 million art investments. They talk about people buying billions of dollars worth of real estate. It's meant for a certain level of investors, and this is where they currently are right now. They're openly telling each other, this thing is amazing, this thing is awesome, you have to get into it. The next stage, which we probably won't reach until next year or the year after, is once Bitcoin has gone over 100,000 and has stayed over $100,000. That's when normal people will be told to then get into the market, because at that point, all the accumulators have already accumulated. They're probably less likely to buy an entire Bitcoin at 100,000, but they want other people to start buying fragments of it, which then also decreases you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, that's the Singapore bank news. I don't know, just another rich thing telling people to buy crypto. And this one says former Goldman Sachs. I think this guy's in the news like every day as well. Jeez Louise. Former Goldman Sachs hedge fund manager Raoul Pal says Bitcoin is seriously undervalued. Had no idea. The CEO of Real Vision and global macro investor who predicted the 2008 financial crisis is explaining why he is making a long-term bet on Bitcoin. He says Bitcoin's recent breakout from a symmetrical triangle dating back to 2017 is just the beginning. He said, I like to get the texture of a move by looking at the long-term charts. Bitcoin is a stunner. The monthly chart has only just broken out this month. It has a long way in time and price to go, and in log terms is barely broken out yet. Super, super early days for what is very likely to be a very big move as institutions finally follow what retail BTC investors have known for all along, that this is the future and it's widely underpriced. Bitcoin should the fact that the fact that the stock markets are at an all-time high and Bitcoin is below 18,000 right now is probably the riddle me this of this year, because Bitcoin should not be this low. And even taking into account, imagine if Bitcoin was faster. That's one of the things that really, really like gets me sometimes. And when I listen to like podcasts, when I'm going on a walk and stuff like that, a lot of times I really sit there and think like Bitcoin is roughly right now around 12,000 US dollars. We hit 20,000, and that's with 3 transactions per second. Where would Bitcoin be if suddenly, imagine by the end of this week, a magical internet fairy was like, tee-hee, Bitcoin now has 100 transactions per second. Bitcoin would probably skyrocket in price, as we'd be able to do 30 times what we can currently do. Imagine if Bitcoin's transaction speed was actually 1,000 transactions per second or 2,000 transactions per second. Like, we'd be on a completely different playing field, and I think Bitcoin would have taken over much of the world at this point, to be completely honest. Of course, Bitcoin is underpriced. It's undervalued, and I dare even say it's underappreciated for what it's actually good for and could be used for. But sure, I'm pretty sure Raoul Pal was in the news like a day or two ago, and another rich person saying, hey, it's undervalued, get into it, because, you know, logic. After that, there's not really much news. There's a lot of really random news, if you kind of want to say that. Apparently, there's a huge amount of flooding happening in China right now, and the hash rate for Bitcoin has apparently been affected. There were at least 38 stories on this, saying that this may have also been the reason for the dip in Bitcoin's price. Apparently, people shutting off their machines because, you know, electricity and water don't really mix. And therefore, the drop in hash rate may have been a negative indicator of the future prospects for Bitcoin. I don't know what people want me to say, but apparently this has affected a lot of the mining equipment, or people are turning off their computers, and the hash rate dropped. This one says, CeeLo Alliance welcomes OKCoin as latest member. Sure, happy for them. This one says, Ren price surges with 10,000 Bitcoin tokenized on Ren BTC. Another DeFi story. There were, and I only have so much space at the top for actual tabs. But the actual amount of DeFi, random DeFi token, is he being struck by lightning? Random DeFi token news is kind of obscene. So Ren BTC is in the news. Oh, here's a really good one. It says investors tip $400 million. I repeat, $400 million US into failed DeFi YAM project, hoping for a sequel. So apparently, so saith the internet, things are not going too well with YAM, as it all but collapsed. But since then, they've gained $200 million in total locked value. And Masari reported YAM's TVL has doubled from 200 million to 400 million since the protocol collapsed. Can you imagine how different the cryptocurrency... imagine for a second all the money that has flown into these projects. Imagine if all that money had flown into Bitcoin. Anybody still with me? You get what I'm saying? What is the obsession that people have with things that may be pump and dumps and or scams? Why do people keep doing this over and over? Here's an actual really cool story that, you know, I think more TV shows should probably take a note from. 18 housemates of Nigeria's version of Big Brother took part in a Bitcoin quiz, with each participant getting $500 worth of Bitcoin as prize money. The really interesting part, I think apparently this happened as an actual episode where they were told to like go around the house and they had to answer quizzes during the TV show. They had to answer, housemates had to answer questions like, what is a Bitcoin wallet? How is the price of Bitcoin determined? Housemates had to name the top 5 cryptocurrencies as well. Finally, the housemates had to draw a sketch that depicted a Bitcoin wallet. Imagine if your country had a thing where one of their most popular TV shows, or any TV show that was live and had potentially millions of people watching, had an entire like Bitcoin episode or a Bitcoin segment. I found this news story really cool because we simply don't hear about enough stuff like this. I think Nigeria is also one of like the top places in Africa for Bitcoin as well. So I think it does make a bit more sense. But then you also get into the, you know, there are other places around the world that are also really into Bitcoin. So why aren't they also doing the exact same thing? Like, imagine how you get, you know, people's minds moving. Like, these people got $500 worth of free Bitcoin during the show, and they had to answer all these questions, and therefore they educated the actual people who were watching the show, and they potentially got 1 million people, introduced or to know more about it. It's just genius. This should have been one of the main news stories, but of course it isn't. This one says DeFi total value locked blast through 6.4 billion, causing YFI and Ren to rocket. Sure, why the heck not? This one says Chainlink's price dropped 16% amid massive sell-off. That's what happens when the market drops. Everything kind of sells off. And this one says 3 reasons why DeFi giant YEarn, that is literally the letter Y and then EARN, rallied to 12,800 US dollars. Apparently, it jumped by 330%. There's so many things I want to say, but I can't. If you've been here at least for 4 episodes, you know exactly, or you should know how my mind works. If you've been here even longer, you know exactly what I'm thinking of. It's just a gosh darn shame. It honestly is, because, you know, I don't even have to say it. I'm actually quite tired of saying it every single episode, because I assume, you know, just logically, if we have 50 million people in the cryptocurrency space, they're probably all not watching my channel. I don't assume there are 800 people in a room at a time listening to my video. But for those of you who are listening, just keep paying attention to where you put your money. Can you imagine putting 400 million into something that collapsed? No, right? Because it sounds crazy. Now imagine people continuously doing that for all of eternity, because people never learn. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Professor Wally from Gunbite University, Snacky Chan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Invest in My Decentralized, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila the Han, Yasha Harari, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Steuer, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mohar Maroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Damian Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Richard III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangia, Lavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller, Hitch Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monks Corner Staff, Arf Medic 17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone out there who is a supporter of the channel. At the moment, Bitcoin is currently at 11,815. We have moved up from where we were around here. I think what was it, 12,500? So we're back at the same game where we're trying to pass by 12,000 US dollars once again. I want to say we should pass by it by the end of the day, as this drop was, I'll use the word fraudulent, but who knows what's going to happen. A lot of the other altcoins have also recovered okay as well. XRP is only down by 6%. Ethereum is also only down by just around 4%. They had a bigger dip than Bitcoin did price-wise. What else is there? I mean, yeah, all the coins are basically in red right now. Tron, that coin, this one. Compound is up by 3.5% because, you know, it's being adopted by millions of people around the world. Theta's up, Ren is up, because of course, why not? Oh, good job on Misego. Only down by 1%. Hanging in there. I do hope that you all enjoyed. I told you it was going to be a very weird news day. There wasn't a lot of news. A lot of the news focused around the fact that Bitcoin dropped in price. People were trying to figure out other reasons as to why it could happen. BCash is versus Dash. Shrug. A huge Singaporean bank has told people that Bitcoin is awesome. And people probably won't pay attention. Only the rich people will pay attention to that. Bitcoin's undervalued. And yeah, a whole bunch of the other really crazy news that's all really random that revolves around DeFi tokens that you probably should not be putting your money into. When I spoke around February and March about potential new BitConnect-esque feelings and sentiments floating around the cryptocurrency space, I said it for a reason. And for those of you who have only focused on the actual big winners, I do tip my digital hat to you. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. What's today? Happy Wednesday. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.